Well, the Botanic Garden is partly driven here by the municipio of Aarhus, of the town of Aarhus, but the university is having part of it. We are managing the greenhouses here and some of the areas outside. And we do that to do public education and to tell people about plants and biodiversity and natural science, and hopefully also make some young people interested in natural sciences. So if you look at the greenhouses here, they have been here for a long time. They were originally a research infrastructure where you could cultivate plants for research purposes. But then in the beginning of the zeros, we decided to change it into a sort of interpretation center, public education thing for Aarhus University, because there was not so much use for this science side of it. So we did that, and it has been rebuilt, and it has been, the big tropical dome has been added. And then in 2014 we reopened for the public. So if we take the greenhouses here, we have 4 different, you could call them climate zones. So we have one with Mediterranean-like climate, like we have in Southern Europe, for example, with the very hot summers and things, and many of the plants that people know from their vacation in Spain or Italy. And we have the second zone, that is like a desert climate, so we have many cacti and also African desert plants. And then the third zone, the one we're standing in here, this is like tropical mountain forest, so what you would also sometimes call cloud forest. Very moist and humid things with many, as you can see in the trees, many epiphytes and things climbing up into the trees. And then the last, the biggest one, that's tropical rainforest plantation. So, and that is also the one that has the highest dome, so we can have the biggest trees in there, and making sort of the sensation of walking in a real rainforest, sort of. So at the basic level, we want to teach people, or just to give them an experience and a sensation of what it's like, and that is much of, you know, the color and the different forms and the feeling the moisture and the heat, and also the butterflies fluttering around in the tropical dome. But in a little bit, more advanced level, we want people to read the material that we're put here for information. So there are small stories about the plants, and there are small videos that you can see, and there are different kinds of things we want to communicate. First of all, that actually much of what we consume comes from nature, it comes from plants. So maybe when you put vanilla into your rice pudding for Christmas, you don't think about it actually being a plant that grows in the tropics where you harvest a certain product, etc. So we're trying to tell that story, that things come from plants, and at the end of the day, everything comes out of nature, right? And we have just taken it into cultivation. So we're trying to re-establish that link between the modern city-dwelling inhabitant and that nature actually still plays a part. And then on some deeper levels, we also want to tell people a little bit about the kind of research that goes on in Aarhus University. And for example, in the Tropical Dome, you can see some videos with top researchers that explain how, for example, how we are trying to work around solving the crisis of getting enough food for a growing population on the earth and the impacts on that, or another story tells about how you use inspiration from nature to create technical solutions to problems. So this simple sensational level and feeling and experiencing a nature-like setting, that is sort of the basic level, but then we're trying to create deeper levels also. Trying to communicate things that are science-based, but in a way that everybody can understand them and get something out of it. Well, we want the cafe to be a little bit different in what they serve. So it should have some kind of relationship to the story we're trying to tell in the plant zones here where we are standing. Now we have coffee plants here in this house, but we are not self-providing with coffee beans. So the coffee is bought, but it's ecological coffee, for example. And these plates that you eat from, they are made from palm leaves that have been pressed together. So it should be trying to be so sustainable and organic, and also trying to sort of give it a little bit of, you can call it edge. It should be a little bit different from what you get in other cafes. And that goes with the food also. So both the surroundings and the food should sort of be a little bit different from what you get in other places. One of the big challenges we have is common pests, insects, like mites and trips and the usual stuff that damage the plants, so that can be very difficult to control sometimes. We don't use chemicals to fight the pests, we only use biological control. So it's a sort of an ongoing battle where we have to be trying to put out the right insects that control the pests all the time before they get out of control and damage the plants too much. So there are various challenges in this. Some are technical challenges, for example, maintaining the right climate for the plants to grow in. Other are sort of management problems, like trying to make this look the right way so that people get the experience of walking in sort of vegetation-like surroundings, not so much a garden surrounding. Well, for me, my first challenge when I started here was to make a plan for how to plant all the plants in the new tropical dome. So, of course, that's a unique possibility. I mean, it's not every day that you build a new big tropical greenhouse in Denmark. Maybe it's one time every 50 years. So having the chance of designing how the forest should look and sort of think about, when I plant this, how will it look in 10 years and in 30 years, because once these plants are planted, nobody's going to move them for a long time. We have tried to ask visitors what they think. What is the best, we ask, and they say everything. And that, to me, that says that it's really the sensation. It's the ambience. It's the sensation of walking between the plants, feeling the moisture and the heat, and seeing all the different shapes and colors. That is the basic sensation that people get. But other very popular things are the tower, the watchtower in the tropical dome, where you can climb up and have a view on the trees from above, and the little pond that is in there with the big Victoria lilies, water lilies, and the fish in the pond and stuff, and then the butterflies. Many people say the butterflies. And then some come across one particular plant that they like very much, like some cactus or some other stuff that people just sort of happen to notice. But the most common answer is that people like everything. They simply like being here.